Yo, what's up, Waveform? Marques here, reporting live from a totally different city, but I just got to see something pretty cool. So, you might remember a couple months ago we had RJ, CEO of Rivian, on the Waveform podcast where we talked about R1T, their electric pickup truck, and R1S, their electric SUV, which I like very much. Both of them very premium, all-wheel drive electric vehicles with this adventure theme. And if you remember during that interview, RJ actually snuck in a mention of R2 coming soon, which is their next generation platform.
We have a smaller set of products, creatively we call R2, R3,
Right.
But they move into different form factors, obviously different sizes. And the goal of those is to continue to take the essence of what we've done here in terms of, you can fit your gear, your kids, your pets, do it in a really sort of refined and fun way, but in different packages and in smaller form factors.
And that's what I just got to see. They had an event today. They revealed the new R2, which is just one vehicle, and it's an SUV that is a slightly smaller, slightly cheaper, slightly less capable, but still very Rivian electric SUV. There's a bunch of different trims, but the idea is it starts at $45,000. It has a single, dual, or triple motor trim. It's smaller in every dimension to the R1S. I think it's most similar to like a Model Y. It's 2 rows now, and it looks very much the same as you'd expect. It's got the same face, the same taillights. Oh, and by the way, they also had one more thing, which was R3 and R3X, which is even further down the line. So R2 is 2026, and R3 is some unknown time after that, with an even cheaper, even smaller, but possibly even sportier combo of vehicles. So I'm curious what your guys' reactions are for these.
Cool. So that was Marques out in California. He's not here right now because he got to see it a little ahead of time. But that's the R2 and the R3 and the R3X, apparently. A little, way more than what we were expecting. But I know we've been excited about R2 for a long time.
Yeah, I've been excited about R3 for a long time.
Yeah, you've been excited for R3 before R3 is a thing.
Yes.
You're a hipster R3er.
I'm always a hipster, baby.
Let's go.
That's my thing.
Like to see it. But yeah, R2 specs, yes. I'm super interested in. And we kind of have some of them here. What we do know is that it starts at $45,000. There will be a single, a dual, and a triple motor version. NACS charging, which is on the back right now instead of the front left, I believe, which sounds... Is that where Tesla's is? Or Tesla's back left?
No, Tesla's is back right.
Is it?
Back left.
Back left.
Back left.
Yeah. You
Back left. I don't know, man.
But I mean, I think...
Don't you own a Tesla?
Yeah, but remember when you're like in a gas car and you look at you look at your speedometer and it shows the sign it's on? It's because I still can't remember. I still have to remember. Yeah.
Well, but by so this is also coming out in 2026. So by that time, hopefully the Tesla charging thing will be not the like park in the opposite spot.
By that time, New York is going to be underwater, and it's going to be. I need our boat, please, Rivian. Come on.
There will be a triple motor version that's 0 to 16 under 3 seconds. No more storage under the seats. 2 glove boxes. Checkmate Fisker. Still has a flashlight in the door. No Bluetooth speaker. Power opening front trunk, but not power closing.
By the way, when he says no Bluetooth speaker, he doesn't mean no Bluetooth speakers in the car. He means the Rivian R1 and R1T and R1S have this like camping speaker that's like under the center console. That's very cool that you can take with you.
And clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good clarification. That would have been hilarious. Like, no Andrew, of course it has Bluetooth. Yeah. But I do think that's like one of the things RJ said a while ago is that it should still have the feel of what everyone loved from Rivian. And I would argue the Bluetooth speaker is one of those things. So I think most people would assume it's in there. I'm totally fine with it not being in there. I'm much more happy that there's a front trunk. That was something I was worried about.
I'm much more happy about having a flashlight.
Yeah.
Still there.
I think that they included all of these small things that are sort of like getting people excited about the brand and making it feel like the brand actually has like an identity and a soul. Yeah. Right? Like you can do these really, really small things. Like I'm sure those Bluetooth speakers, even though they're like bespoke, probably cost them like $30 a unit. Yeah. The flashlights probably cost them like $3 a unit.
It probably costs more for the flashlight to be fitted into the door than it does for the actual flashlight.
I mean, maybe you design it to spec and you make a million of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting to me. I kind of agree that that seems like a very low cost thing that they're cutting. And it seems like something they should keep on all the cars just to keep the like vibe.
Agreed. I wonder if the speaker, at least the exact speaker, since this is a bit shorter than the R1S and R1T. Like, I wonder what that console inside is really looking like, and maybe there's just not enough space to fit in there. Although you obviously could make a smaller speaker, but that's another product, another SKU number they need, which is annoying. And whatever, I don't need the Bluetooth speaker. All of us have a Bluetooth speaker at this point that we could just bring by ourselves. A couple other cool things though that Marques seemed pretty pumped about was this new steering wheel. It has like these two
big buttons.
They're like wheels almost,
Yeah, they're
but
similar
like
to the
vertical
Tesla
wheels.
ones. The Tesla ones are the same way.
And he said the like haptics on it are fantastic, and that like that's a great way to be able to tell what you're doing without having to look at the screen and figuring all that out.
I just want to say, out of like the past, I don't even know how many cars, I feel like that's the most excited I've heard him talk about a car feature.
He was very much like it's like a PS5 controller.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. What's cooler,
But are there wheels on a PS5 controller, or does he just mean the haptics?
He's talking about the haptics of the controller, how they added that like
pressure sensitive.
Yeah,
thing.
Exactly.
That's cool.
That's kind of cool. I'm kind of whatever on it, but the back glass rolls all the way down. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, there's the vented sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I feel like there's probably people with an R1S that are probably like, I wish it had the vent. It's so the back windows that are kind of behind. They would be where the third row is, although this is only a 2-row. They flare out, which is like nice to get some airflow in, but also without having the like windows down, destroying your range, and also like making it impossible to hear anything. In the car.
And then the back glass goes down so that you don't have to open the full trunk. So you can either like open the full trunk, put all your stuff in, or put the back glass down and then just slide things in.
Yeah, and I do believe the R1S had the glass window would go up, so you could do half and half like that. But scrolling down is cooler, and now isn't a thing above you that feels more like easily to break it.
Yeah,
somehow.
It's always interesting when you release the cheaper products many years later, because you can like add new features, and you're like, but I want that in my R1. But
I could see maybe an R1 refresh at some time, including some of these things.
I'm sure they'll do that. They'll put the NACS port in there. They'll do like a quality of life update.
That's a really good point. By the time they do NACS port, I wonder if they add a couple of these small things onto it.
I would guess they'll probably do a refresh.
Yeah. But it sounds like the $45,000 base version is around 260 miles of range. It's single motor, but there are going to be higher trims with over 300 miles of range and double, triple motor.
Yeah.
I'm most interested, but we don't know like what the prices for those are.
No. Only the base model.
Yeah. I'm really hoping 50 to 55 can give me dual motor 320 miles of range. That would be either way, because it's not going to be out. I'm reserving this the absolute millisecond it comes out.
Yeah.
I think this looks really cool.
Which by the time this podcast has been out, you have already reserved.
I have already reserved it.
Yeah.
I would like to go through the pre-order qualifications that you said you wanted.
Sure.
So first, you said it needs to be dual motor.
They have a dual motor.
So it has dual motor. And you're saying if it's 50 to 55, you would pre-order?
If it's 60, I'll still do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need 200 miles of range minimum.
I said 200?
I mean 280, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, well, dual motor would be 280.
We don't know exactly. It definitely will be.
Or higher.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he said the dual and triple motor have the bigger battery.
Yeah.
That's over 300.
We'll see. Sometimes adding the other motor takes range away, so I'm hoping it doesn't take too much range away, but we don't know how big the bigger battery is, so I'm hoping it would still be around 320 with a dual motor.
And then you said under 60K, which that's your limit.
Seems like
but
that's good.
If it is 60, you will also pre-order. If it is like a clean 60.
It's hitting everything else, so that's why I think I'll still do it.
Boxy, not slanted or a crossover hatchback.
So, yes, that is still it. I looked at the dimensions of it. I don't have them right in front of me, but I can pull them up. It is slightly shorter in terms of height than the Forester by about an inch or two, but it is slightly longer in terms of length than the Forester. So it's almost like between an Outback and a Forester. I guess the one thing I'm most worried about, and the reason I picked a Forester over an Outback, is when I'm sitting, I like my legs to be almost like 90 degrees, like I'm sitting in a chair, rather than a lot of cars you sit in are almost like a cockpit where your legs kind of go straight out.
Oh, yeah.
And sitting in an Outback, it's like that since it originated as a station wagon.
That is the difference between the Model 3 and the Model Y, too.
Exactly.
In the 3, you're kind of like sitting like that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's like more like a cockpit. And then the Y, the chair is raised
You're
a lot
up
higher
a bit.
up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And as someone with 4 knee surgeries, I like to just sit up all
That makes
the way.
sense. I rented a Model Y when I was in LA a few months ago, and it was really disorienting.
Really?
I was not
just because
used
of
to
how much
sitting
different it
that
was.
high up.
Yeah.
And your last qualification was it needs to have a frunk.
It does. I was very worried they would take that away because frunks don't seem to be a default thing with an EV, which I kind of thought they would. Agreed.
Yeah.
I super agree. But
And sometimes when they have them, it's like an inch of space.
just
It's like, why do
here,
you even add that?
Put your 6-pack in here and then go home. Okay, dimensions are length is 185.6 inches, height is 66.9 inches, wheelbase is 115.6 inches.
So how much smaller than the R1S is this?
This is a nice little graphic for it.
So it's 15 inches shorter. It is 11 inches. Oh, sorry.
No, it's always hard to
Less
say
long.
shorter. Yeah, less long is the better way of putting it.
It is 11 inches shorter, and it is
The wheelbase is like 6 inches tighter, closer.
okay.
And so my other semi worry about this is just like I love how much headroom I have in my Forester, being someone who's 6'2". So like I'm hoping since it's a little smaller, shorter height wise, it'll still be okay. I'm pretty sure it will be. But yeah, so this checks off everything I think on that list pretty well. The front windshield looks a little more angled than I was hoping. I was hoping it'd be a little like straight up, just because I think viewing's better out of stuff like that. But it's still way flat or not as angled as like the Cybertruck, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just to throw some shots at Cybertruck out there, why I can. But other than that, this is awesome. But there's something else that Oh yeah, 2026.
Well,
I think I mentioned that before.
Yeah,
That's a little more.
We
But
still got a lot of time.
I got plenty of time to throw the reservation in,
and
change
let's
my
see
mind
if
if
the
I
price
need.
is
and then-
still the same.
That's a super good point.
Because I don't think that they'll pull the same move that they did on the R1T and R1S where they jacked the price up by a ton right before it came out.
Do you know what will be interesting is when the reservation thing comes out, if there'll be a clause in there that like this could change it all? Because last time
They'll
what they
probably say
did,
that.
I think they will.
Yeah.
Last time the whole thing was you reserved, and then they tried to jack it up, and then they're like, just kidding. If you reserved at the old price, we'll give you that.
I
but then
get
it's-
that prices change and like economies change and stuff, but it's very frustrating to give a company $1,000 interest-free loan for 2 to 3 years, and they get to do whatever they want with it, and then you just have to take your money back if you decide you don't want it.
Agreed.
That's annoying.
I think like it. I do understand, like you said, prices change. But if you are going to take an interest-free loan from me, like that's the give and take here.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you have to deal with the price changing. I have to deal with losing money for a while.
One last thing, another thing. What do they say?
One more
Oh,
thing.
one more thing.
Okay, yeah. There is an R3.
Weren't
Yeah.
you there for that?
What? Yeah.
How'd you forget that?
I was like 7. I don't know. I was 12 years old or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Yes, R3. So this is the even smaller, even more Subaru kind of like Bronco, Lancia Delta, and Tag Grill.
Yeah, it feels
I'm not
cross
sure I'm pronouncing
trekky
that right.
size if you're
Cross-trekky.
looking at Subaru. Yeah,
I don't really know for sure how I feel about the vibe of it.
really.
Yeah, I kind of want the more angular, like actual Subaru looking car than like a futuristic Subaru looking car.
Okay.
But I could probably deal with it. There's not a lot of details about this car, almost at all. Just that it's a hatchback, basically, and it looks a little bit different, and it's got this like slanted back thing going on.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of interesting. But if it's a lot cheaper and it still has a lot of like outdoor kind of adventure style stuff, I think it could be very interesting. And I mean, everything's going to be NACS by that time too.
Yeah.
The R2 is going to ship with NACS as well, which is awesome.
Yeah, and we don't have a date for the, or even like really, it was just a next.
Yeah,
a
they
next.
said sometime later.
Yeah, so I think it looks really cool. It reminds me of like a hatchbacky, like a small hatchback, but as the Crosstrek is lifted up a little bit versus like the hatchback Impreza. So, but it is way boxier. It's got kind of like the slanted back, and it has a really strange tail light. I don't know if I love that quite as much.
I wish I liked the way it looked more than I do.
I do like how it looks, to be honest, but I want something with some more space.
It could also definitely change by the time it comes out because you can't like
Very
reserve
true.
one. They're just showing it off.
My thinking is like, I really like the way it looks right now. I don't know if I'm going to like this in 10 years, whenever this comes out. Because it's not coming out anytime soon.
Yeah.
I don't know, 10 years.
very
Right?
fair.
Definitely not
Probably
soon.
like 5 years from
Yeah.
now.
So like,
Yeah.
this is a very like style that is in, like it's in vogue right now. Mm-hmm. But in 10 years, who knows?
It's probably just for them to show investors like, hey, we've got a whole family of EVs coming in the future, and please don't short us. So because their stock has not been
it's
doing
not
great
doing good right
recently.
now.
It's like $10 right now, and they IPO'd at like 35.
I am also wondering if they're announcing R3 like this, which is not a truck, is there the opportunity for the R2T, which would be Maverick sized, which is an extremely popular small truck because maybe we should all realize we don't need behemoth trucks and can have the same size bed in a truck that's a regular size.
I am surprised they're not doing that. Yeah, because like I don't know, in America people love trucks.
They do. They love big trucks, but also the Maverick is like insanely popular to the point where it's almost hard to get. And it's a small, normal sized truck.
Hey,
What?
The Maverick is still a huge truck.
It's still compared to everything else in the US.
Look,
It is like
okay, a big reason a lot of people buy trucks that aren't actually using their beds every day. It's the prepper people. It's the but what if my friend needs to move and I could save the day and swoop in and help
Your
them?
friend.
I think we used our F-bomb quota for the year. No, like this is so many people buy trucks for that specific reason. It's a what if I need to, and they use it like once and they're proud of themselves and then they move on. You know, so I'm just saying it's a very popular, like people kind of want to buy these small trucks. I'm surprised that they didn't announce an R2T. Maybe they will in the future. Though.
I wonder if it'll come before, if it'll ever come before an R3.
Probably before R3.
Yeah, and then they also showed off the R3X,
Right.
which is a performance version.
Right.
Which at that point, I don't know what pricing would be like on R3, but I'm assuming an R3X with an upgraded performance and more expensive is probably getting into R2 price.
Probably like
pretty
46.
easily.
I would probably say 46. I'm wondering what the R3 base price is going to be. Probably like 36 or something.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Even still, that's cheap. Not cheap. Not cheap,
I mean,
but in the
for
EV
an
world,
for an
yeah,
EV
for
it
sure.
is. Yeah.
Model 3 pricing, but it's bigger, so it's closer to a Model Y sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I'm really pumped about these. I can't wait I will reserve the R2. I think it's awesome. It's almost exactly what I wanted.
well, we've been
Ellis?
waiting a long time for that, so I'm glad it's finally here.
Did Ellis want to say something?
I have so much to say, but maybe we should just cut it.
What is it valuable?
Maybe. The first thing is that I thought the R3 looks like some of my favorite cars of all time, which I'm really stoked for. I think it looks like a Lancia Delta Integrale, dope car. I think it looks like a Datsun 210, also a dope car. So I think it's going to be a timeless silhouette.
Timeless.
If it, fingers crossed, if it comes out.
I think the non-timeless thing is the big tail light on the back, which I also could see not actually making it into the final version if we're kind of concept-y vibes at this point.
Yeah. The other thing that's been rattling around my brain is that there was a lawsuit. I'm going to tie it back into cars, EVs, I promise. There was a lawsuit against Dollar General in January because they were leaving 2-year-old price stickers on the shelves. And then when they would ring up the SKU, it would show the current day price. So the prices on the shelves were cheaper than the prices at the point of sale. And the lawsuit is like, that's super illegal. And then I was like, how is that different than what Tesla does? Which I get it is. It's like you're not reading a sticker price and then 5 seconds later getting charged a different price. But if you change 5 seconds to 2 years.
Yeah.
I still think it's messed up that you can give an interest, like $1,000 interest-free loan, and in 3 years, if they jack the price by 40%, you just have to take your money back and you lost out on that interest.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah. It's crazy that
All of
that's
it.
legal.
I don't love that all these different companies are doing this. It feels like Kickstarter as group buys in the mechanical keyboard world. Yeah, it's like,
reserving the opportunity to purchase something and then it becoming prohibitively expensive is No good.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's also probably the reason that we have to have all these like do not resell this, because if you get in early on something, and then that's why Cybertruck right now is the like, you can't resell this within a year, because someone gets it early, and then realizes like, I can make money off this immediately.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know how they would do it other than that, besides just wait till it comes out and then take your money. But
or collect the full sticker price at the moment of reservation. I think that's how all of their pre-orders work. Like I pre-ordered a synthesizer about a year ago. I paid the full sticker price. Yeah, still.
I guess that is how like.
That's
yeah.
how. Yeah,
actually, that is more how like Kickstarters and like
that's how video games work. No, if
you just get a discounted price on Kickstarter.
Sometimes, forget even Kickstarter. Just like when you pre-orders, when you pay for something that's not out, you normally pay for all of it.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you pay for the entire thing, like the early bird price.
Yeah, when you pre-order an Apple Vision Pro, you're not getting a discount, but you also
charge you until it ships, though.
Is that true?
Yeah.
But you at least know that you're not like day of shipment at Apple's not going to be like $100 more, please.
Yeah, that is an interesting point of being basically like, here's the right to charge me for this, but don't charge it until I receive it. Mm-hmm. I guess that's way harder for an automobile when you're probably financing it and not paying straight in cash.
Yeah. And in EV manufacturers' defense, it's way harder for an automobile where you have a global supply chain and any number of things can like drastically change how much a car costs. But maybe you shouldn't take people. I don't know. I don't know.
Yesterday, Rivian posted the R2 is 2 days away, and everyone was like, "Why didn't you just say it's R2 days away?"
Missed opportunity.
Just call the title of the episode Rivian's new cars, Our Thoughts.
Or just our thoughts on R2.
Our thoughts on
Our
R2.
thoughts on R2.
And R3.
Damn. Podcast viewers are watching us
just
come to
parentheses
this
and R3.
Double parentheses and R3X. Apparently Andrew is forcing me to say like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
You should, though.